Picture this: warm, freshly baked cookies oozing chocolate, crunchy candies snapping in your mouth, silky smooth cakes melting on your tongue, and ice cream piled high on crisp waffle cones. Are you starting to crave dessert? But why exactly do sweet foods feel so irresistible? Sugar is the key. It's actually a broad term used to describe a family of molecules called carbohydrates, which are present in countless foods and drinks. If you've ever checked nutrition labels, you've probably seen names like glucose, fructose, sucrose, maltose, lactose, dextrose, or starch. All of them are forms of sugar. The list also includes high fructose corn syrup, fruit juice, honey, and even so-called raw sugar. And it's not only in obvious sweets like candy or cake. Sugar hides in places you wouldn't expect, such as tomato sauces, yogurt, dried fruits, flavored waters, and granola bars. Because sugar is so widespread, it's worth asking, how does it actually affect the brain? So, what happens the moment sugar hits your tongue? Take a bite of cereal, for example. The sugars inside it trigger the sweet taste receptors, tiny sensors located on the taste buds of your tongue. These receptors send signals to the brainstem, which then branches those signals off to several regions of the forebrain. One of the most important stops is the cerebral cortex, where different sections process different tastes: bitter, salty, umami, and in our case, sweet. From there, the signal activates the brain's reward system. This system is a complex network of electrical and chemical pathways running through multiple brain regions, all working together to answer a very simple subconscious question: should I do that again? The warm, fuzzy satisfaction you feel when eating your grandmother's chocolate cake? That's your reward system lighting up and saying, yes, definitely do this again. And it's not only food that sparks this system. Social interactions, sex, and even drugs are examples of things that stimulate the same circuitry. But here's the catch: when the reward system gets overstimulated, it can trigger a chain reaction, loss of control, stronger cravings, and eventually, a higher tolerance. Now, let's go back to that bite of cereal. Once swallowed, it travels down into your stomach and eventually your gut. Surprisingly, there are sugar receptors here as well. While they aren't taste buds, they still send signals to the brain, letting it know you're full or telling your body to release insulin to manage the influx of sugar. The main chemical currency of the reward system is dopamine, a powerful neurotransmitter. Dopamine receptors are scattered throughout the forebrain, but they're not evenly distributed. Certain areas contain dense clusters known as dopamine hotspots. These are central to the reward system. Substances like alcohol, nicotine, and heroin cause massive dopamine surges, which is why they can be so addictive. Sugar also triggers dopamine release, though at a gentler level compared to drugs. Interestingly, sugar is one of the rare foods that directly stimulates dopamine. By contrast, broccoli, for instance, has zero effect on dopamine, which may explain why kids aren't exactly thrilled to eat their vegetables. To better understand this, imagine eating a balanced, healthy meal. Dopamine levels spike in those reward system hotspots. But if you eat the same dish over and over again, your brain's response changes. Each time, the dopamine release becomes weaker until it eventually levels out. That's because our brains evolved to pay extra attention to variety in food. Why? 2 reasons: first, to help detect spoiled or dangerous foods, and second, because eating a wide range of foods increases the chance of getting all the nutrients necessary for survival. To keep that variety going, the brain rewards us for seeking out new and different flavors. But what happens if instead of a balanced meal, you go for something loaded with sugar? If you only eat sugar occasionally or in small amounts, your brain responds similarly to how it does with a healthy meal: dopamine spikes, then levels out. But if you consume sugar often and in large amounts, it's different. The dopamine response doesn't flatten out. Sugar continues to deliver that rewarding rush over and over again. In this way, sugar acts somewhat like a drug, reinforcing the desire to keep eating more of it. That's why sugary foods can feel so addictive. Each form of sugar may be slightly different, but every single one sets off a chain reaction in the brain that produces a rewarding feeling. Too much, too often, and the system goes into overdrive. So, does that mean dessert is the enemy? Not necessarily. A slice of cake or a scoop of ice cream once in a while won't hurt, but understanding how sugar manipulates the brain's reward pathways can explain why it's so hard to resist, and why moderation matters.